Hi guys! So before I get into my rant here, I'm just going to address that, yes, I got a haircut. Um, I like my hair long, but summer is coming and I don't want long, greasy, sweaty, sticky hair sticking to every inch of my face. It's disgusting and I have bad enough acne problems as it is. So I decided to cut it short. I'm slowly figuring out how to manage it. I've been straightening the fuck out of it, but it's working for now. And actually, it is nice to wake up and not take like 2 hours for my hair to dry. Anyways, today's topic is going to be gender identity, because people seem to think that this is a massive joke in society, and I think it's about time to address that. I'm doing a lot of that with my PhD. If I do get accepted to my PhD program, it does deal with gender identity, gender presentation, and the historiographic representation of trans people, because it's going to be taking a look at mislabeling people as trans in historical literature. For example, Joan of Arc. But a lot of people seem to think that gender identity is just a huge joke. And it's not necessarily in relation directly to binary trans people, as in like male to female or female to male. It comes up a lot when it comes to terms such as gender fluid or non-binary, because people don't believe that you can be more than one gender or no gender at all. They feel there is male, there is female, you're either one or the other. I mean, there's a lot of stigma and a lot of misinformation and beliefs attached to even just the binary, because, I mean, people say, oh, you have a penis, that makes you a man. You have a vagina, that makes you a woman. And it's like, no, that's not how it works. It is not related to your sexual organs. I mean, yes, that is how they eventually decided to split people into binary genders, but gender is really a matter of the brain. And as much as there is some science stating that, there's only two genders, there is also science that states there is more genders. Gender is on a spectrum. Like anything, there are scientists arguing one side and arguing the other side. Just because there is science saying that it's not true doesn't mean that it's not true, because there are always going to be these arguments. Science is never 100% a confirmation this or that. But, for example, there are studies from Harvard and UCLA that talk about gender on a spectrum. I will put those links down below just for anybody who is curious, because I do like to provide at least a little bit of proof if I'm talking about these things. Anyways, gender identity. So as an historian, I can tell you that there are many ancient cultures that did recognize more than one gender, or genders outside the binary. For example, really active in the LGBTQ community these days, especially in Canada, are Indigenous peoples, because of their two-spirited state of being. And that's the idea of Indigenous people who feel like they have the spirits of two different genders in them. They feel like they are both. It's basically their equivalent to our gender fluid. I'm not going to try to explain it because I am not an Indigenous person and I don't want to mess this up. I do not want to take somebody else's representation and try to explain it. It's not my place. I'm just stating that they are an active part of the LGBTQ community. This is why they do recognize more than just the binary gender, and they have for centuries. They have since before we even knew they existed here in Canada. So that's just a little tidbit. I mean, there are other cultures too. I could even talk about Eastern European cultures that recognize genders outside the binary. But I'm not going to turn this into some huge history lesson. I just want to make my rant. And my rant is that gender identity is not a joke. a lot of people are taking gender identity, especially in regards to, say, non-binary or gender fluid people, and saying stuff like, oh, I identify as an attack helicopter. And people are saying, like, oh, I identify as this, I identify as that, and because it's against the Human Rights Code, you can't argue with me about that. And they're taking it, making a complete joke, because there are trans people, binary trans people, non-binary trans people, gender fluid trans people, who do use the whole Human Rights Code as the argument, because if you're going into a workplace or a school and you want to be respected, sometimes you do have to make it clear that there is a human rights code, especially here in Ontario, that states that you have to respect somebody's gender. And that includes, like, pronouns, name, bathroom usage. See, the problem with the whole transgender bathroom thing down in the US isn't actually a thing here. It's against our Human Rights Code. But I'm getting really tired of the people who are joking about gender identity, because it's making it very, very difficult for people of a non-cisgender identity to go about their business and be respected in their everyday lives. This isn't just about being respected, say, on the internet or when you're making an argument. This is about being respected in the workplace. This is about being respected in school. This is about being respected by friends and family and people you meet on the streets. Not every trans person physically transitions. There are many reasons why. Sometimes it can be a matter of they can't afford to, or sometimes it can be a matter of they don't actually hate their body. You do not have to have body dysphoria to be transgender. It's gender dysphoria that makes somebody transgender, but that is not related to your physical body. Many trans people do have body dysphoria. That does not mean all of them do. So, these trans people have issues when people don't respect their gender, because they look at somebody, well, you're obviously a woman, so I don't know why you want me to call you a man. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? And then there's the non-binary and gender fluid people, because when you've got no gender or more than one gender, it can be hard to present in a way that people are going to understand, because people have these gender roles ingrained in their mind. What a man looks like, what a female looks like, what a man dresses like, what a female dresses like. And it's ridiculous. And so people take all this stuff and they turn it into one big laughing matter. They take the lives of trans people and turn them into a joke. And it's fucking horrible. I can't even begin to explain how many lives you people are hurting by doing this. How many people's lives, how many people might not only be tempted to something like suicide because they feel like they don't belong in this world, but these people whose lives are being ruined just on a daily basis because you are making it easier. You are enabling other people to disrespect them just on the street or in professional places. And that is not okay. That is not okay. So, I know this rant is getting a little long, and I don't want to keep it going very much longer, because I've said my piece. I've said that this is not okay, blah, 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 blah. So I just want to invite people to leave in the comments or message me privately on, say, any of my social media accounts. That's fine too. If you want to have this discussion but you don't want to have it in a public place, I am fine with that. Whether it be arguing against it or agreeing with me, I am okay with that. But if you're okay with leaving public comments, just leave in the comments down below your idea about gender identity, your opinions. Try to be respectful. If I find that you're actually outright invalidating people or arguing people on their own comments here on my video, I will be deleting your comments. But just explain to me why you agree with me, why you do not agree with me, if you are somebody who struggles with gender identity, and presentation in society. Explain your experience, maybe, that might help other people understand why this is not okay. If this video bored you, or if you don't like this sort of, politically correct rant, or whatever bullshit you want to call it, then you can just mosey along on YouTube and find something more interesting to watch. But if you do like to hear these type of things, you can subscribe to my channel. I usually do just little videos, some shorter, some about this length. I think actually this is the longest one I've done so far. But I do usually do videos of talking, rants, relatable things, so it's here if you want it. And I'll just leave off with my personal advice to people. I understand if you do not recognize more than the two binary genders. I understand if you do not understand non-binary, gender fluid, any of the other gender identities, because there are more than that. I just use those as general terms because gender fluid usually, or non-binary, are the more common of the outside the binary genders. But I understand if you don't understand them, if you don't accept them, if there's reasons you have for not believing they exist. But that does not give you the right to disrespect other people. You can disagree with somebody's lifestyle and still respect them. Because, I mean, you can be homophobic, say, and have a gay family member and just treat them with respect. They know that you don't agree with them dating somebody of the same gender or doing other things with somebody of the same gender. That's fine. They know that. You don't have to keep shoving it in their face. Just be respectful of people's pronouns, be respectful of their name, the way they present themselves. If you want to disagree, you can have those arguments with somebody else in private, but you don't have to be disrespectful to their face or ruin every other part of their lives just to make a point. It's called being a decent human being. Try it sometime. So, yeah, that's all I have to say, and I just hope that someday, people will begin to understand this a little better. I just want to end off this video, too, by stating I identify as male, binary male, he, him pronouns. So I'm not sitting here arguing on behalf of myself as, say, a gender fluid or non-binary person, but as somebody very actively involved in the LGBTQ community, and as you can see, studying gender identity and whatnot, this does kind of hit me hard. So, yeah. Bye, guys.